ports, rail, and power, and we have substantially eased the costs and conduct of business in Kenya. Costs and conduct of business in Kenya. The strategy has been richly rewarded. In just 4 years since 2013, over 1,500 companies have invested in Kenya, and more than 20 of them chose Kenya as their Africa headquarters. Today, Kenya hosts the very first ceramic tile manufacturing company in Kenya. Twyford Ceramics, approximately 1.5 billion shillings in a plant in Machakos that is near completion. And Bidco is setting up another factory, a 1.5 billion shilling factory in Thika. Kiroche Breweries recently opened up a 1.5 billion plant in Naivasha. And Eldoret is now home to Kenya's first ever private special economic zone, with over 200 billion in foreign direct investment and over 10,000 jobs to follow from that SEZ. Let me also mention that Sultan Hamud has the largest can manufacturing plant in Africa. GZI investing close to 12 billion shillings, and the Leather City under construction in Machakos will employ approximately 50,000 Kenyans once complete. What we all need to do is to keep up with the momentum and to make sure that every part of Kenya benefits. And that is why today I'm pleased to announce that through our friends, Kisumu is the next in line to receive record-breaking new investment that will change the lives of our farmers and our young people. This investment, valued at approximately 15 billion Kenya shillings, would result in a modern state-of-the-art brewery which will see at least 110,000 Kenyans derive a source of livelihood. Many of us rely on subsistence agriculture to earn a living, but our farming will remain viable only if we move from subsistence production to agribusiness. And if we do this right, we will see a significant multiplier effect, creating employment, raising rural incomes, increasing food security, boosting exports, and eventually growing our economy. I am totally delighted to note that Kenya Breweries, along with scores of other businesses across the Republic, is helping our government meet this objective. And indeed, this new investment strengthens our national push for a new, transformative way of doing agriculture in Kenya. Indeed, Kenya Breweries have contracted already about 30,000 smallholder farmers across the country in such areas as Kisumu, Siaya, Migori, Homa Bay, Tharaka Nithi, Kitui, Makueni. Farmers in these regions have proved keen growers of sorghum and millet, and they have collectively over the years earned approximately 2.2 billion shillings a year from supplying beer-making raw materials, a sum that will rise if they take full advantage of the opportunity offered by KBL. And for that reason, I encourage more farmers in all these regions to become part of Kenya Breweries' growth story, to benefit from this plant and the opportunity that it offers. This will lead to an increase in sorghum demand, which in turn will support small-scale farmers and utilization of irrigation schemes in arid and semi-arid areas. According to our projections, this plant alone will lead to an increased utilization of sorghum from the current 20,000 metric tons a year to around 40,000 in the next 5 years. Increased demand for sorghum will see the number of contracted farmers grow from 30,000 to around 45,000. And as a result, gross additional farmer earnings are expected to reach over Kenya shilling 6 billion annually over the next few years. I'm pleased, therefore, that Kenya Breweries is not only focused on the bottom line, they are looking at lifting up the lives of our own Kenyans. In passing, I want to once again thank Kenya Breweries for introducing the Senate Keg, a safe, affordable beer that has helped us all in the fight and the menace against illicit brews. This year, the Treasury has done its part by introducing an 80% remission for beers made from sorghum, millet, and cassava. Quality brews such as Senate Keg will remain affordable for wananchi, and the makers and sellers of illicit brews will find life even harder. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, there is no doubt in my mind that we are all on the right track. There is no doubt that Kenya is on the right track. And if we work together, we will bring shared prosperity for every Kenyan, wherever in the country they may be, whatever language they speak. And our commitment is clear and simple. We will do everything to make sure that Kenya remains on course so that we live in a peaceful, prosperous, and socially inclusive society. I also want to take this opportunity to thank you once again for all the support that you have given us in terms of your CSR projects that have seen us develop our national theater. And I take this opportunity also to ask you to continue with that same spirit, to help us especially in uplifting the lives of our young people through your social programs that will help us in the arts, in culture, in sports, and we look forward to being great partners in that endeavor as well. I wish you every success. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Karibu.
Your Excellency, thank you for those inspiring words. On behalf of Kenya Breweries, I'd just like to say we are very excited about the prospects in Kenya. We've been in this country for close to 100 years, and this announcement today is a very important milestone. It's a major investment for Diageo and the shareholders of East Africa Breweries. But the most inspiring part of the investment is this is an investment that's going to create jobs, that's going to help the community, the farming community you referred to, the small entrepreneurs that will set up bars, and the multiplier effect, I believe, on Kenya will be great. We had the confidence to make this investment because of the attractiveness of Kenya as an investment destination. Ease of doing business has improved. The infrastructure is getting built well. And we see your commitment and our commitment to reduce alcohol harm in society is at the pillar of what we are doing with this brewery. So delighted to be here today, delighted to announce our intention to take on this exciting project. It is a very major investment for us. We expect to create attractive jobs in the construction of the brewery, and I look forward to coming back to celebrate the opening of this brewery with you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Excellency, may I now invite you to witness the signing of this letter of commitment. Thank you.
All right, live pictures there from State House where the president was just announcing a new investments in the country in partnership with the private sector. They're about to sign that deal, and he mentioned that there's going to be an investment of a new brewery in Kisumu worth 15 billion shillings, which will also skyrocket the demand for sorghum. One of the things he also said is that the government is still steadfast on transforming the lives of Kenya, and he said that the work must continue. It takes a bit of time, but he also says that they step back and remember what we are working for, that is transformation, and transformation does take time. He's also pledged to support the private sector to boost the economy and also bring jobs. The creation of jobs through industrialization is one of the main priorities that he mentioned. He also said that there's going to be several investments in parts, they've invested in parts of railway, ports, and power as well. And he also mentioned that 1,500 companies invested in Kenya, 20 of whom chose Kenya as their preferred headquarters. And the 1,500 companies have already invested so far. And he also said that the only most important thing is to keep up with the momentum. He also said that the farmers should be involved in the brewery that is coming up in Kisumu and also try and supply all the sorghum that they can have. One of the main rallying calls here really is that, and that quote him here, is that we are on the right track. Kenya is on the right track. We only have to keep working together, and he also pledged to do everything to make sure that Kenya remains on the right track. Joseph Simeha is joining us. Gabriel Mudume is still with me, but let me bring in Joseph faster and get their reactions on the president's announcement. What do you make of it?
It's good. It's always important, of course, for an economy to develop. You need investments. You need economic activity. And so any genuine investment that comes into the country, that's good for the country. Yeah, this is what creates jobs. This is what contributes to creating wealth of a nation.
His main rallying call there is we are on the right track.
Well, that is, you have to look at that in context. Because if you just pick one thing and analyze that one thing without looking at the context, you may not get the full picture. So to get the full picture, whether we're on the right track or not, I think you have to look at the entire context. But looking at this one activity in itself, by itself, this is absolutely the right thing. So if we are looking at this one single track, then we are on the right track, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, by the way, we didn't see that coming. I wasn't expecting that, but I think that's a serious, it's a good move.
Yeah.
And I'm liking one thing that the president has said, which is what we were talking earlier, that for transformation, it takes time. People must give it time. It's not a whether to. It's not an inherently something a do-it-yourself kind of thing. It must be marinated with other things for it to make sense at the end of the day. And what comes out very clearly with this new investment, it tells you something that I also repeated earlier on, that transformation must be preceded by something. What is this something? I think the number one thing that precedes things like investments and transformation at the end of the day is the knowledge and the skill and the efficiency that we pump into it. So actually, if you relate all those things, and that's why I was telling you, if we continue to do all those things and divorce politics as much as we can, Trevor, we have nowhere to go than transform this country. So it is a very good thing that we are seeing in Kisumu. I mean, 15 billion, that is so much money. And then the involvement in farmers brings in the issue of technology. I mean, that's a lot of sorghum, I mean, to actually be pumped into that company. And if they are going to work with farmers and, both small and large scale farmers, then I think there's a huge chance for actually people to make money who are in the sorghum industry. And probably this is what we'd like to see.
Yeah. Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, I was just going to say that and persuade both of you that, you can never, ever divorce politics from development. Politics sets the pace of development. And I hear this a lot, and I say, what a fallacy that you can actually divorce politics from development. Perhaps what we should talk about keeping away from development is retrogressive politics. Politics of unhealthy competition, because we do have healthy competition in politics,
right,
but we also have very unhealthy competition in politics. And that's what we ought to keep away from our politics and from our development. But generally, politics sets the pace of society. Even in rudimentary societies, it's very political. Even to make those decisions, where should this go, what is this about, and so on, is very political. All the time we have to push ourselves, and we have a constitution that provides as a foundation for progressive kind of politics. We need to keep pushing ourselves as Kenyans to continue enjoying competitive multi-party politics, but progressive politics, and not petty, unhealthy politics that oftentimes we witness on the Kenyan scene.
I agree. I totally agree with that. And probably when probably didn't come out when we talk about politics, you're talking about the health politics. When you look at, there are things that actually are based on the political platform. When people sit down, legislators, when they sit down to talk about, what kind of tax relief do such companies get, that's politics, but that is politics that's moving the country forward. And I think if we do have much of that, and we divorce that nasty, nonsensical kind of politics, that is when I'm saying we are going to be heading somewhere.
All right, let's take a short break here on NTV today. My panelists are still staying with me. When we come back, let's talk about the jobs. Jubilee, and both NAS and Jubilee have pledged to give jobs. Jubilee actually gave a number, 1.3 million jobs if re-elected. Previously, they promised 1 million jobs. Based on Andrew Ching's report of fact-checking, they only supplied 800,000. So how is 1.3 million going to be possible? That in just a bit. Let's take a short break on NTV today.